Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, October 30th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you on this Wednesday. How about this for a Wednesday? Isn't it nice to have not just 2 or 3 games? We've got 6, a half dozen here on the NHL slate for this Wednesday, and we're very much looking forward to that. Like I said, a bigger slate than normal for a Wednesday. It's Wednesday, which means it's Betting Man Advantage Wednesday, sponsored by Power Play Sportsbook. We'll have Larry Fisher joining us in just a bit. But first, we're going to recap last night's action, and it was a interesting Tuesday. And our underdog experiment that I talked about on the show yesterday, where I thought that 5 underdogs were live, we ended up cashing 3 of the 5. So it ended up being very profitable. And again, if you're going to go 3-2 on underdogs, you're going to be definitely profitable. And in this case, we certainly were. One of those underdogs was the Philadelphia Flyers, who shut out the Boston Bruins 2-0 last night as the Flyers finally dig in and play the way, obviously, John Tortorella wants them to play. He doesn't want them playing 7-5 hockey like they did against Minnesota on Saturday. And that was definitely the Flyers getting back to the way they wanted to play, solid in their own end, not running around, not trading chances, not trying to open the game up. And when the chances were there for Boston, Samuel Ersson was probably his best game of the year. He was absolutely terrific. No rebounds. Rebound control was spot on. And the Philadelphia Flyers get a 2-0 shutout win, a shutout for, obviously, Samuel Ersson in that game last night. They got to run with him because, and look, you worry about wearing him out. He hasn't played a full season as the number 1 guy yet, but I mean, Fedotov and Kolosov, that combo's not ready yet. And you've got to probably just go with Ersson for the time being as often as you possibly can. So nice win there for the Flyers. Seattle absolutely pounding Montreal 8-2. I was kind of worried this could happen, even though I thought the price got a little steep on Seattle in that game. Montreal off a couple of nice outright wins as underdogs against the Flyers and against the it was the Flyers in one, and it was St. Louis on Saturday in the other. Maybe Seattle, on a bad ending to the homestand, would come out, start the road trip with fire in their nostrils, and they sure did. They jumped out early, and they never looked back. How about a hat trick for Brandon Montour last night for the Seattle Kraken, and they roll past Montreal 8-2. Another of our underdogs last night that came through was the Anaheim Ducks, 3-1 win over the New York Islanders. I can't say enough about this kid. He's awesome. He's phenomenal. Lukas Dostal, man. Start talking about this guy in between the pipes. 41 saves. The save he made, check the highlights. If you didn't watch the game or you didn't see the highlights, watch the post-to-post movement for him on that 2-on-1 rush that the Islanders had last night. Incredible stop. And again, timely goal scoring. The power play got going for Anaheim last night. Troy Terry got on the board. Leo Carlsson got on the board. And the Ducks made a 2-1 lead stand up, backed by just an incredible performance in net by Dostal, 41 saves. And the Ducks get a 3-1 win over the Islanders last night. And don't look now, but guess who the goalie leading the NHL right now in goals saved above average and save percentage? Guess who? Lukas Dostal right now for the Anaheim Ducks. And I'm not waiting anymore, Alex. You know what I did this morning after that great game? And maybe I'm just giddy and so much joy because I had Anaheim plus 230 last night. But maybe, recency bias and because you're so happy you cashed a big underdog ticket. But we know this kid's good. We know he's got talent. We know he's got the potential to be a number 1 goalie in this league. I took him 100-1 to win the Vezina this morning. I did just because of the numbers. The numbers are off the chart right now. A couple of bucks on it. We'll see. I just thought right now he should not be 100-1 with the way he's performed here in this first month of the season in between the pipes. So a great performance from him, and Anaheim gets back in the win column with a 3-1 victory there in that one. Very emotional scenes in Pittsburgh last night. Marc-Andre Fleury, his final game in Pittsburgh. Obviously, we know he's retiring at the end of the season. and the Wild send him out a winner in his final performance in net in Pittsburgh in his career against the team that he started his career with, won Stanley Cups with. A 5-3 win for the Minnesota Wild. Nobody makes fucking leads disappear like the Pittsburgh Penguins. Holy mackerel. I mean, they got off to that great start, and of course that horse shit, just hideous defense and blue line, just cannot hold leads, cannot keep pucks out of the net. And that 2-0 lead was gone in a hurry. Next thing you know, it's 4 unanswered goals for the Minnesota Wild last night. Pittsburgh gets it back to 4-3, but then they seal it into the empty net with Kaprizov to make it 5-3. They're just an awful defensive team. I mean, I'm just repeating myself. We've said this now for how long now? Several games in a row, but it's just magnified every time you watch this team play. Just what an absolute, nobody knows what they're doing. Like they run around with chickens with their heads cut off in the defensive zone, the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it's a disaster right now in their own end for them. Speaking of a disaster for the St. Louis Blues last night. They get absolutely smoked by the Ottawa Senators 8-1. Credit to Ottawa, tough spot off a road trip. But they lost a couple there to Vegas and Colorado, but they bounced back strong and they thumped St. Louis 8-1 last night. In that game, it was Brady Tkachuk was awesome. Big night. How about Adam Gaudette? This guy made the team on a PTO, and he's been one of the better forwards this year for the Ottawa Senators. Credit to him. Rangers and Washington, the gift that keeps on giving. This shutout loss angle. 13-2, first period over, 11-4, full game over. Another easy winner. There's 3 goals on the board in the first 10 minutes last night of that Rangers-Capitals game, and a great scrap. Holy mackerel. What a tilt that was. Matt Rempe and Dylan McElrath, and they had fought before in the American League as well. So entertaining game, and I stuck to my gun saying I think Washington could be live in this game. And sure enough, they get the 5-3 win against the New York Rangers. Great bounce-back win after they got shut out by Tampa over the weekend. The system play, man, that's just automatic now. I don't even think about it. You see a team off a shutout loss, you're betting first period over, you're betting full game over. It's as simple as that, with just how incredibly profitable and strong it has been. And Washington gets a 5-3 win. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention as well, Connor McMichael, bargain bin special of the night, cashes in as well with plus 420. Someone that's really been heating up and had a nice start to the year for the Washington Capitals. And then the night wrapped up with the, don't look now, get the fire hydrant out. Put this team out. They're on fire. The San Jose Sharks, they've won 2 in a row. 4-2 win against the LA Kings last night. Credit to them, back-to-back, but they pull one out, 4-2 against the LA Kings, and clearly, look, a little momentum now for Ryan Warsofsky. Good for him. You don't want to see him go 10-plus games without winning his first game behind the bench. Finally got it against Utah in that comeback, and they get their second straight win last night against LA. Alex, your thoughts on a interesting Tuesday night?
Yeah, I didn't need to be on the show in person for people to know what my best bet was, and we both had the exact same thing. That first period over in Rangers Caps, like you said, 13-2 run now with that first period over, involved in games off of a shutout. And of course, now we have another system set up because of how Boston failed to get a goal through with Samuel Harrison in that game. And like I said, with Philly's one of these teams, we talk about it, where they have that defensive mentality where if they get into a track meet, they get into one of these boat races like they did the other day, the next game out, what we could see will definitely be looking at unders. So I don't want to make that the next system, but that's just something to just always kind of keep in mind from a grand overview of totals. Be careful when you have these defensive-minded teams and establish who these teams are early. That's why sometimes that's the biggest thing about October, November. It's establishing where we place teams and where we set teams to then create the plays that we're looking for. But these defensive-minded teams that don't have really the offense to play track meets night in and night out like a Philly. Philly can't afford to play 7-5 hockey every night. So when they do have those games, especially if they're stacked around 1 or 2 games, high scoring, you can assuredly look, and especially when you start looking at a team that also wants to play at least play defensive hockey. It's not like Boston's in the same kind of spot where they're trying to clamp things down on that end, but they're just a good defensive team. Let's try to be a solid, responsible defensive team. That sets up those spots. So when we talk about these system plays, there will be times to adjust. I've already adjusted a couple of games where I bet live overs on the first period of full games within the system. So there's still ways to manipulate it, and it's not just a straight blind look all the time, and you don't have to make it a blind look. We keep the frame of reference of first period over, full game over off the shutout, but there's still adjustments and things you can make, and there's still ways to boost profit. You don't have to be laying prices every time we're betting the system.
That's a great point. That's absolutely, there's different ways to go about it. You're right. In terms of not just what you bet, how you bet it, with game to game, it's not going to be the same. You're going to have the differences where, look, wait a minute, I don't like where that number, that price is. You wait, and you can take it in game. You're going to see that from time to time. Yeah.
And have you noticed as we get into the end of this month, this has been one of the more interesting stretches of time that I've realized in betting hockey, where the prices have mattered a lot. And what I'm saying by that is, of course, we talk about things within the pick'em range, but we always talk about how these big dogs are live early in the season. We've been seeing them cash the last couple of days, but we've seen these teams in that 160 to 180 range get these huge wins. You look at, like I said, talk about Ottawa getting the big blowout win. They were minus 165, 170. Seattle as a minus 175 favorite. So we're seeing this interesting kind of shift of where these middle range favorites are winning some of these big games. But once you hit that 2-1 mark, we pretty much have to just look straight dog or nothing. And those dogs are actually cashing kind of early. So it's funny that's not something that we just kind of blindly look off of. We always try to, we see a number and we go work from there. But right now, it's hard to look at any kind of anything favoring a team that is favored minus 200 or higher. And really, even when you start getting some of those big range 140, 150 dogs, you have to just kind of tread lightly. So it's a weird thing. That's why the early months are so important. We have to wait for things to shake out. There are trends that we're following now that may not come to fruition even 2 weeks time. But it's interesting to see how things have shaken out so far in the first couple of weeks.
No doubt. I think for the full season, you do not want to be making the majority of your NHL hockey betting portfolio minus 150, minus 200 favorites or higher. We've stressed that for years. But even more so the way it started here in the month of October. Underdogs have been barking. Just in the last 2 nights, how many underdogs have I been on that have cashed? The Blackhawks and the Blue Jackets on Monday night. Last night we had 3, the Flyers, the Capitals, and the Ducks. So, yeah, these are definitely things you need to be aware of. We've seen definitely a lot of barking underdogs here early in the season. All right, it's Wednesday, and it's that time of the show where it's time for the Ice Guys show to go on the power play. It's time for the Betting Man Advantage, powered by Power Play Sportsbook.
This segment is brought to you by Power Play. Discover Canada's top-rated sportsbook. Enjoy same-game parlays, player props, and more. Raise your game. Join Power Play today. Remember to always bet responsibly. Sportsbook not available in the United States. Must be 19 or older and to play. Gambling problem? In Ontario, call 1-888-230-3505. That's 1-888-230-3505.
All right, it is time for the Betting Man Advantage, and we welcome back onto the show our friend Larry Fisher from Power Play Sportsbook. But we do this with a bit of a somber heart on this Wednesday edition of the show because Larry is parting ways with Power Play. It's office stuff. We're not going to discuss the specifics, why and how, but Larry has come as time with Power Play comes to an end after this month, and this will be his final time on this segment. We're probably going to get another representative from Power Play Sportsbook joining us on Wednesdays moving forward. But Larry, my gosh, it was over before it started, my friend. This is unfortunate news, but we're going to make this last one count with you here on the Betting Man Advantage.
Absolutely, guys. Try to go out with a bang today, but yeah, definitely. Like I said, bittersweet. It was awesome setting this up with the Ice Guys and Power Play, and a ton of potential for this partnership going forward as well. And no ill will, parting on good terms with Power Play, but on to whatever's next career move wise for me. So stay tuned on that front, but hopefully stay involved in the sports betting space as well.
Well, after you mentioned how bad you felt about the first week on the show you had that didn't go your way. I think everything went your way the following show, though. Your bets were outstanding. The second show, the second appearance you made a couple weeks ago. Of course, you weren't on last Wednesday. We didn't have a show because there was only one game. But you had a great performance with the betting results 2 weeks ago on the show. And I see on the sheet here that you sent me, there's a lot that you're interested in. Talk about the over 5.5 experiment because you've been tracking this. How's it going?
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, if you look at the last week, it's been gaining momentum. We talked a couple weeks ago that there's actually been maybe more unders at 5.5 than what you would expect out of the gate. With the system play isn't dialed in, the goaltending maybe isn't as high level as it will be after Christmas or after American Thanksgiving. And usually it is higher scoring out of the gate. So I have been betting over 5.5 on every game, taking the straights, planning to do that through American Thanksgiving. And the latest update, guys, is we're at 93 of 149 for the North American games. As mentioned, I didn't count the two Global Series games over in Prague to start the year, but 93 of 149, which if we're talking baseball or batting average, we're at 62.4% of all games are hitting over 5.5 to date. So definitely going to keep that rolling.
And you've also been experimenting with, and I'm sure Alex and I have had an effect, especially Alex on this, the first period overs, because they have become all the rage the last couple of years. You've been dabbling in that? Talk a little about the first period overs.
Yeah, betting the over 1.5 for first period total. I've had some recent success with this strategy. It actually, interestingly, offers higher odds on average than over 5.5 game total. Again, which I find interesting because 1.5 goals times 3 is 4.5. Yet the over 1.5 in the first period pays more than over 5.5 total, which 4.5 to 5.5. It is interesting. I managed to hit a 5-leg parlay on Monday. $10 paid 171.70. That was Avs, Hawks, Oilers, Jackets, Leafs, Jets, Utah Sharks, and Canes, Canucks. So I kept the receipt on that one, but that was a fun one to hit a 5-leg parlay on the over 1.5 first period total, but usually hedging there and taking the straights at over 1.5 for first period total as well, which I'm trying again tonight, guys. I got a 4-leg parlay on the over 1.5 first period total. I got the Jets and Wings, Lightning and Avs, Knights and Kings, and Canucks and Devils. So a $20 wager there would pay $184.05 tonight. So banking on those 4 games, having a good start in the first period.
I'm glad you mentioned Vegas and LA in that, because Vegas has been one of the strongest first period over teams all year in the NHL. Just incredible results there. Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
No, just to say, kind of completing the synergy here too, because the two systems that you're looking at have kind of combined to something that Ian has discovered and we've been hitting with right now, and that's first period over, full game overs involving teams off of a shutout loss. It's a 13-2 to the first period over. And Ian, what was that full game total number?
13-2 first period over and 11-4 full game over. Now, full game overs were lagging a little bit behind the first period over with this angle at first, but the first period overs are hitting a lot more the last few, where we've seen a team off a shutout loss. So it's closer to similar results with both. Still a little bit better with the first period over, but not by much anymore. 13-2 first period overs, 11-4 full game overs. Games involving teams off a shutout loss, Larry. Make sure you mark that down. Hey, we don't know when we're going to see you again after this, but because we want to give you some gifts here on the way out, some things to note, some things hopefully you can take advantage of.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep watching and I'll keep piggybacking some of your guys' bets and some of your strategies, because definitely helping me cash some tickets along the way. Even though it's only been a month of the season, without the Ice Guys, I'd probably be down a little bit. Instead, we're up a little bit. So so far, so good. Like I said, enjoying being part of the show, and definitely going to keep watching and just looking forward to tonight's schedule. Like I said, trying to go out with a bang. So put together a same game parlay for the Battle of the Hughes brothers.
Hughes Bowl. That's New Jersey, Vancouver.
Yeah, the Hughes Bowl. Yeah, exactly. New Jersey and Vancouver. And so I got Vancouver to win at home over 6.5 total goals. And because we're going for the gusto on the way out, I took all 3 Hughes brothers as anytime goal scorers. I don't know when the last time 3 brothers have scored in the same game. Obviously, we know Brady and Matthew Tkachuk have scored in the same game in recent years, and some other brothers. But I don't know. Maybe the Sutters way back in the day might have had a 3-way goal. Obviously, that's.
I don't know about that. They don't have half the skill that combo does with the Hughes brothers.
Exactly.
Some of them were kind of muggers, like especially Rich Sutter. Rich Sutter wasn't much of a goal scorer, but that's another story.
So that might be a first in NHL history. You get three brothers scoring in the same game. So obviously it's swinging for the fences to throw in another World Series reference. But a $10 wager would have paid $1,510. And again, obviously we all know this is a real long shot. But funny enough, on Power Play, the max bet for this same game parlay, the most it would let me wager for whatever reason was $6.66. Which I thought the number of the beast, they're playing the Devils. So no coincidence there. I did throw down the $6.66 wager, which would pay $1,005.66. So we'll see if the Devils on our side, even though I got the Canucks to win at over 6.5 tonight.
Yeah, shout out to Iron Maiden on that one with that little price there. But I think that last year we were on a betcast when Devils in Vancouver played, and I think the brothers had all three of them had fairly good nights. That was a high scoring.
And I think they all had a point. Like, you're really going for the jugular, Larry, with the goal parlay. The point parlay is a little safer. I think that legitimately does have a really good chance to hit, just the point parlay for all three of them.
For sure. Yeah, that's probably the smarter play, or the safer play for sure, and probably still pays pretty decent tonight as well if for all three Hughes brothers to hit the score sheet.
Yeah, just looking back at last year, December 5th, 2023, Jack Hughes scored, Luke Hughes scored, Quinn ended up getting a third period assist. So just one brother away from getting that hat trick. So hopefully it cashes in for you tonight.
Yeah, let's hope. Third time the charm here on the Ice Guys for me as well. So stars could be aligning there, especially with the 666 factor. But in general tonight, guys, another parlay I threw down, just a money line, or I was promoting anyway, a money line on the three Canadian teams to win. Canucks over the Devils, the Jets over the Wings, and the Flames on the road in Utah. A simple $10 bet on the three Canadian teams pays $64.60. But there's a catch here. I never bet on the Flames winning. Come from a family of Oiler fans. I'm on the other side of the Battle of Alberta. So on my own ticket, I actually swapped out Calgary for Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay in Colorado, I like the Lightning's chances tonight. So going with Canucks, Jets, and Lightning on a money line parlay, $10 pays $59.25. I like the odds of Vancouver, Winnipeg, and Tampa Bay tonight.
So you gave me three teams there. I'm like neutral on one of them. I think that's probably the Vancouver game. I'm wishy-washy with the side on that game.
Yeah, same.
I'm against you with Winnipeg because of the bubble burst theory. I truly believe when you lose your first game, it's a bit of a downer. And sometimes it takes you a couple games to, shake off the cobwebs. Oh, man, we got this deep into the year, 8 games, and we lost our first game. I think Detroit could be live in that game. But the other one I agree with, Tampa. Is how can you back Colorado now? Another forward goes down, Miles Wood. They're without 6 of their top 9 forwards now. With another injury, with what they're already missing. They've got to put guys like Kovalenko and Ivan up the lineup right now because of that. And now you've got Kaapo Kähkönen making his Avalanche debut here tonight. And I'm shocked by this. Why is Annunen not playing? This guy has been out really strong for you. He's given you finally a shot in the arm with your net minding. You're that desperate to see what Kähkönen can give you after claiming him off on waivers earlier this month? I don't get it. Makes no sense to me.
And a nice, easy debut there. Throw him in against Kucherov and Point Gensel and the Lightning, and especially. So I guess that leads right into my best bet, guys. And today I could have done best bet and bargain bin special. Could have been the same bet today, but I'll save the other one for the bargain bin. But for best bet, I'm going Lightning team total over 4.5, $10 for a $41 payout. As
Plus
you mentioned,
410 on that, over 4.5. So alternative team total.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, Kaapo Kähkönen making his Colorado debut, throwing him right into the fire. You mentioned the Avs without 6 of their top 9 forwards. Obviously, Landeskog, Nichushkin, and Lehkonen haven't played yet this year, but they've lost Drew, and I believe they said Ross Colton's out for like 6 to 8 weeks now, and Miles Wood as well.
Miles Wood now, it's just
I like the chances of Tampa Bay pumping in at least 5 goals tonight. So my best bet is that Lightning team total over 4.5.
Yeah, I saw a good comment in the chat where it said, Colorado will be known as the Eagles pretty soon because, they're so damn banged up right now that it's going to be mostly the AHL guys kind of filling up that lineup for sure.
All right, bargain bin special, Larry. This is you make this count. Your last bargain bin special here on these Wednesdays. What do you got?
Yeah, like I said, I could have went best bet for this one as well. But going back to the Hughes Bowl, the Battle of the Hughes brothers, I picked all three of them to score in the same game parlay, but for me, the bargain bin special tonight, Quinn Hughes at plus 370 at powerplay.com, a $10 wager for a $47 payout. I know Quinn's more of a playmaker, but I really think with the brother element, he's going to be jacked up for this one as the captain of the Canucks, the oldest brother, and playing at home. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an overtime winner. I could see this being a 4-3 or 5-4 game, but I like Quinn Hughes as my bargain bin special at plus 370.
There you go. And I think he's got a shot too. The Hughes brother that you're worried about, clearly, as far as your goal scorer parlay or Hughes goal scorer parlay, Larry, is Luke. That's the guy you worry about, because he's probably the least likely of the three to find the back of the net with an actual goal tonight. But by the way, I did the point parlay. I put it together just at Bet365. Shop around. Other books may have better odds, but I know at Bet365 it's plus 400 for the three brothers to get a point tonight. That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah. That's really good. I'm betting that, of course. I think they all got a point the last time it was a New Jersey-Vancouver game. So that's a good one there. Plus 400 point parlay there for Luke, Quinn, and Jack Hughes.
For sure. And like I said, Luke's the long shot to score. When I was building that same game parlay, it was decent with just Jack and Quinn scoring, but obviously it pumps the odds way up. And if by chance all three, you call it the Hughes brothers hat trick, and like I said, third time the charm here on the finale for me on the Ice Guys webcast. So I sort of threw caution to the wind there. I don't expect that one to hit. I wouldn't advise everybody else piggyback that same game parlay, but if it does cash, that'd be a talking point for you guys next week and going forward.
I think, like I said, that's such a poignant spot that I think a lot of people, even if they bet it small, they kind of tag along with that, because, like I said, it's just a cool thing to witness and see if it happens. So that's one of the more kind of just it's a fun bet. That's truly a fun bet, and it has legs because all three of them are talented players and can contribute offensively at times.
Yeah, no question about that. And like I said, Luke is the one you'd be a little concerned about. But other than that, like I said, I think you've got certainly Jack and Quinn. Even Quinn's a defenseman too, like Luke. Quinn can score goals. We know that. He's got a great shot from the point. Quarterbacks the power play. He scored multiple times already this year. Luke's the one that you're worried about maybe wrecking that thing. But even he, I think, is going to maybe be a little more active tonight as far as getting that puck to the net in a game like this, knowing he's playing with his other brother Jack on his team against his other brother Quinn on the other team. So from that standpoint, I think Luke might be more active as far as trying to get his offense going a little bit here tonight in this game. Larry, you have certainly gotten your offense going with us here in the month of October, joining us on this show. And I know we're going to have a new Power Play Sportsbook representative joining us on Wednesdays moving forward on the Betting Man Advantage. But it's kind of sad that we were going to part ways here. But like I said, we'll reach out to you. We may get you on just as a regular bonus guest throughout the course of the season. But bottom line is, it's been fun having you on this show. It's been great. You're a good guy. And most importantly, Larry, all the best to you in your future endeavors, whatever they may be, wherever they may take you. We certainly wish you all the best.
Appreciate that, guys. And definitely, you know where to find me. If you need a fill in here or there on the show, I'd definitely be willing to come back. And like I said, I'm a fan of the show, so I'll be tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have for bets on that Colorado Tampa Bay game tonight, because that's an intriguing one. So I'll be staying tuned the rest of today's show and going forward as well. But thanks again for having me and setting this up with PowerPlay.com.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to promise me something. I want to see that name Larry Fisher in our YouTube chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and let everybody know what your Twitter handle too, so they can follow you on Twitter as well.
Yeah, you can give me a follow on Twitter. It's at Larry Fisher _KDC, which stood for Kelowna Daily Courier when I was the beat writer for the Kelowna Rockets in the Western Hockey League. But at Larry Fisher, all one word, capital L, capital F _KDC. If you want to give me a follow there. And obviously I'm still scouting. I scout the WHL for draft eligible talent for the NHL. So if you're into prospects in the NHL draft, you'll get some of that there on Twitter as well.
There you go. Great stuff indeed. Larry Fisher, it has been a blast doing the Betting Man Advantage with you this month here on Wednesdays. And I'll just reiterate it again. All the best to you moving forward, huh? Head up and onward and upward, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys.
All right. Take care. There he is, Larry Fisher, with us for the final time on this segment. But like I said, we will try to get him on the show a couple of times at least during the course of the season. But like I said, Sometimes stuff happens, there's breakups, there's marriage breakups, there's business breakups. And in this case, Larry, moving on, and we wish him all the best. Larry, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, all the best, guys.
All right, take care. There he is, Larry Fisher, with us. All right, let's get into the Thursday NHL card. We've got a lot of games here on tap. We're going to start with the New York Islanders taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. We've got the Islanders -130, road favorites, the total 6.5 here in this game. So I don't like that the Islanders lost last night. You're going to get focus probably from them here tonight in this game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I think the value again is on Columbus as a home underdog, just like it was last or Monday night against the Edmonton Oilers. Not exactly fond of laying a price. And by the way, I don't know how accurate this is, but people that follow the Islanders closely are kind of thinking this and kind of hearing this kind of stuff. Apparently, the relationship with Sweet Lou and Patrick Waugh is not going over great at the moment. I'm hearing there's some conflict behind the scenes with personnel decisions about who's in the lineup, and Lou is trying to step on Waugh's toes about lineup decisions and about how we make the team better. There's been some disagreement, I guess you could say. Now, this is speculation. This is just stuff that people that follow the Islanders are hearing. I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, you've got two very hard-nosed, at times pig-headed personalities. What the hell do you expect? There's going to be some fucking conflict at some point, maybe some upsetting of the apple cart. And I think maybe you're seeing that here, but the Islanders, they've just not been able to string any sort of consistency together. And it's both ends of the ice. One night they'll score, 4 goals and beat New Jersey, 4 goals and beat Montreal, 6 and beat Colorado. And then there's games where they get shut out 1-0 by Alex Lyon. And there's games last night where they get just absolutely brick-walled, dose-walled by Dostal last night in that Ducks game. So it's just, all over the map for the Islanders. They're not, and plus, let's not underestimate the loss of Anthony Duclair, who's actually playing pretty solidly offensively for the Islanders, and they're not getting enough people stepping up, outside of the Anthony Duclair. Siplikov is quiet. Holmstrom's done nothing, since he's been on the top line with Horvat and Barzal. So all kinds of problems right now for the Islanders. I don't like it as much as the other night because, you're taking on an Edmonton team that was on a back-to-back off a win against Detroit, and the Jackets took advantage of that. But the Jackets have been good at home. They have a winning home record, 3-2 at Nationwide Arena this season. And the Islanders on a back-to-back, Columbus having the rest advantage. I'm still cool taking them, +110, +115. And I'm going to sprinkle a little on the draw here as well. That's a no-brainer as well that we might see this game get past regulation. So a little Jackets and draw for me with Islanders and Blue Jackets here tonight. By the way, as far as goaltending, we saw Sorokin last night, so likely going to get Semyon Varlamov in between the pipes here tonight. Elvis Merzlikins in net for the Blue Jackets. Alex, Islanders, Jackets.
Now, we don't want to get into a pattern just yet of blindly betting the draw with the Islanders. But this is a good draw spot because of the fact that you have a Columbus team coming off of a win and having an Islanders team coming off a loss. I think the focus of these two groups would lead to having a tighter, closer kind of a game. So this is a game where I like the draw, and I'll probably be on that 3-3 correct score. It's been around plus 1,300. I'll make sure and get the exact price on that. But those are two things I like here. Don't like a side necessarily. Don't like that total either. I know first period overs have been kind of cashing in a little bit higher with the Isles of late. But I think we could see this maybe start off a tad bit slow and, like I said, kind of coast through. So draw, correct score, 3-3. Those are only two things I like.
One of my favorite books because it's a reduced juice book, Pinnacle. Because of the fact I can get over 6 -118 there. I did grab a little full game, no first period over, just full game over here, 6 -118. Jackets, I think, have gone over in 3 straight. 5 of their last 6, I believe, have gone over in Columbus games. And not surprising because they've got offense. Like, I like their forward group. It's always going to come down to what they get as far as keeping the puck out of the net. What do they get from Merzlikins and Tarasov? Can that defense step up? But offensively, I like what I see. Monahan has been great. Monahan props you got to keep rolling with. Werenski's been a point machine. Monahan is playing with such a heavy heart this year, and I think it's fueling his effort on a nightly basis, with his dear best friend, Johnny Gaudreau, obviously passing away. And, man, is he ever playing like it right now for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So he's the obvious, prop magnet right now for the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, Winnipeg and Detroit. The Winnipeg Jets, for the first time this year, entering a game off a loss. We'll see how they respond. Winnipeg minus 160 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. I mentioned obviously during the betting man advantage segment that I worry about backing teams after they lose their first game of the season, especially when they go 8, 9, 10 games deep before that first loss, like the Winnipeg Jets did. A bubble burst theory to me is real. And sometimes it's just you finally get knocked down a peg. You don't always get back up again right away. And I think we might see that here tonight from the Winnipeg Jets in this game off the 6-4 loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You had a piece of that, I know, the other night, Toronto, in that game against Winnipeg to hand the Jets their first loss. And here's the problem with Winnipeg. It's not just the bubble burst theory. It's that, other than beating Edmonton, and actually Minnesota's had a good start, so that's a pretty decent win. You can't love the majority of the wins. Chicago, San Jose, Pittsburgh, Calgary. Seattle was a win, but they barely got it in overtime. St. Louis has kind of hit the shits the last few games. That's not exactly a who's who of amazing victories during that 8-game win streak to start the year. Detroit's a team. I don't like Detroit defensively. You know that, and they're off a couple of losses in a row, Edmonton and Buffalo. This team has not lost 3 in a row, though, yet this year. And I'm sure you're going to get a little bit of urgency from Derek Lalonde's team tonight. Don't want to lose 3 in a row after back-to-back losses against the Sabres and the Oilers. We'll see if they can respond here. It looks like for goaltending, it's going to be Connor Hellebuck back in net after his first loss. He was humanized by Toronto, giving up 5 goals in that game. The 6th, of course, was an empty netter. And then Alex Lyon, who by far gives, I think, Detroit the best potential option in net right now, will be in between the pipes for the Red Wings. So, like I say, I'm going to take a shot with this home underdog here, Detroit, and hoping that the Jets' hangover of losing their first game carries over to tonight. And I think Detroit's live here. What do you think here, Alex? Winnipeg, Detroit.
Yeah, I grabbed a small piece of Detroit money line, like I said, just off of the bubble burst theory. That's something that we kind of ride, especially when you have a home dog to go along with that spot, and a feisty home dog in Detroit, like I said, kind of getting things rolling. And I do have a bargain bin play circled in this contest too. So yeah, just telling you on Wings money line, but the bargain bin, I think it's a decent little spot here. I'll talk about it a little bit later on.
Good stuff indeed. Yes, the bargain bin special of the night coming up. As far as props that I like in this game, Kyle Connor had a huge night against Toronto, albeit in a losing effort, but he was certainly very good. We talk about how Ehlers and Niederreiter and Velarde have chipped in as well. It's one of those deals with Winnipeg. They get different players every night chipping in, so you can really go in a bunch of different directions as far as props go. One thing you want to point out here, and here's someone to keep an eye on for Detroit here, starting to heat up a little bit, scored against Edmonton, 4 goals. Our guy, straight out of Comfort, crazy motherfucker named JT. He is someone that's maybe starting to get a little something going here, straight out of Comfort. JT starting to get his offense rolling. We're waiting on Lucas Raymond here for the Detroit Red Wings, but finally he scored against Buffalo over the weekend. Does that get him rolling a little bit? Keep an eye on that. Tarasenko is day-to-day. We'll have to see if he plays tonight for Detroit. Keep in mind we have a former player against his old team angle here with Andrew Kopp for the Detroit Red Wings playing against the Winnipeg Jets, a team he once played for. And I think he did score against Edmonton as well over the weekend. So Andrew Kopp might be someone to look at here in this game. The total's tough for me. Detroit, I don't like unders with Detroit. I just don't. I don't think they're an under team. I think their defense and their goaltending at times can be shaky. I like Lyon more than the other 2 guys, Talbot and Husso. But nevertheless, I think of them more as an offensive team. And even Winnipeg, they had this low-scoring, defensive-minded start to the year. Don't look now, 5-1 to the over for the Winnipeg Jets in the last 6 games. They've started to score a lot. Their power play's been great. So I actually lean over 6. Don't love it, but I do lean over 6 here. Tampa Bay, Colorado. Even money, minus 110 both sides. 6.5 the total in this game. Bailey made a good point in the chat. The one concern you have for Tampa Bay here is they've not been the same team on the road as they've been at home. This was the case last year, and even this year, 4-1 at home. And their duds, their bad games have been on the road. They're only 2-2 on the road, and they got hammered by Toronto on the road, and they lost to Ottawa on the road. Their only road win the one road win was at New Jersey, and then they had the opening night win at Carolina, which was a pretty good win. But the point is they're a little bit more susceptible on the road I do get that, but it's very difficult for me to back Colorado right now in this mangled state that they're in. They are just a beaten up to shit hockey team right now. As I mentioned earlier, 6 of their top 9 forwards are out. It is scary how thin all of a sudden. This was one of the deepest forward groups in the NHL 2-3 years ago. But last year they didn't have as much depth. This year they have even less depth, and now they're just beaten up with injuries, making it even worse now for Colorado. I mean, look who's out: Landeskog, Nichushkin, Lehkonen, Drouin, now Miles Wood, Ross Colton, who have actually been players that have stepped up for Colorado, and they're out as well. So this is going to have to be one of those rally the troops. Everyone has to pitch in a positive manner tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. The good news about all these injuries is, as I'll get to, is there's some great opportunities here for props for Colorado as far as value, because you're suddenly getting some great value with all these lineup changes that have been forced upon Jared Bednar because of all these injuries. You've got Nikolai Kovalenko up on the top line. He's going to get that chance now with Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. He's up on that group, and you're getting him at plus 380 in a lot of spots to score a goal. Chris Wagner, who is usually a fourth line type player, he's all the way up now on the second line for Colorado tonight with Casey Middlestat and Logan O'Connor. So he's upwards of plus 975 to score a goal for the Avs here tonight. Casey Middlestat has been great. He's plus 270 to score, but he has been one of those players that has stepped up in that second center spot. He has been very good. I mean, what can you say? 7 points for him in the last 3 games. He's got already 6 goals on the season. Typical Buffalo Sabres bullshit. You leave Buffalo, you become even better. You get to Buffalo, and it's like I said, it's the Jets effect a little bit. The New York Football Jets effect with the Buffalo Sabres. You get out of Buffalo, you become good. You get to Buffalo, you turn to shit. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now with Middlestat. But he's had an outstanding season so far. So I think all 3 of those guys, Middlestat, Wagner, and Kovalenko, are probably great value for the Avs tonight as far as props. Tampa Bay, Nick Paul, we've talked about him a lot, but a guy that is getting more of an offensive role now with the Lightning. He's now on a 6-game point streak going into tonight. 3 goals, 3 assists. He's had a goal in 3 of those games and an assist in 3 of those games, but a 6-game point streak overall for Nick Paul coming into this game tonight for Tampa Bay. I'm on Tampa minus 110. On Tampa a little bit team total over as well. I think you got to split it up as well. Put a little team total in your pocket, because Kaapo Kahkonen is not someone I trust until I see. And by the way, he was 0-2 in his starts with the Colorado Eagles down there in the American Hockey League. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement either, but I'm going to do a split. Tampa Bay money line with Tampa Bay team total over 3 at minus 140. You can get the 3, or you can get 3.5 at plus money, whatever you prefer. I just decide let's get the 3 for a little extra security. I do like that. I like the full game over a little bit, but I don't like the price, and I don't like the pregame price. I certainly don't like the pregame price of the first period over. Like I said, I'm going to wait to see if I can get a better price on that. So a little pregame over 6.5, a little Tampa money line, and team total over 3 split as well for me with Lightning and Avs. Again, Alex, we know our thoughts here on Kahkonen. We got to see it before we believe it with this guy, who has just obviously been more bad than good the last couple of years with both the Devils and with the Sharks combined. What do you think here in this one, Alex, with Tampa Bay, Colorado?
No, and even going back to the Wild too, this guy's a fringe. He's a fringe goalie. He is the old Dennis Green line.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Wild and Sharks. He was never with New Jersey. Wild and Sharks.
Yeah. But that's this is just who he is as a goaltender. He's not reliable. And Colorado's in a world of trouble. They can't trust either one of their goalies. And like I said, Annan's played well. He's played better. But you can't now. It's the light bulb has gone off in Jared Bednar's head to go, hey, I can't burn this guy because I already burned one goalie. So that's probably the reason why we're seeing Kahkonen coming up and getting this start. They got to rest Georgiev. Finally, something happened where they have to rest him, but maybe it's far too late. And now that you have all these injuries with the forwards, what do you do now? Like that comment said in the chat, this is the Colorado Eagles essentially. And if you're giving me a pick 'em price here, I'm definitely taking a much healthier, much better Tampa Bay team. So I'm going with that. But I also like the first period over. I got minus 142 at FanDuel earlier. It has now moved everywhere. I would recommend grabbing this early live. I did also play a small piece of both teams to score in the first period, plus 150. That's lefty susceptible to giving up a soft goal early. So that's something that we could see happen. It could be a 1-1 score at the end of the 20. Wouldn't shock me one bit. So do like those first period looks, but definitely going with Tampa Bay full game money line minus $1.10.
Yeah, and there he is. There's our guy, Larry Fisher, in the chat from Power Play. Power Play for the next 2 days, that is. But he makes a great point. Yeah, it's like I mentioned. Maybe Onanen needs rest. Maybe that's what they think. Maybe that's what Jared Bednar's thinking. You don't want to push this guy. Like all of a sudden now we're playing him every game, and he's not accustomed to that at this level.
Yeah.
Yet he's been clearly better than the other guys. Yeah.
What happens if you play Onanen for 8 or 9 straight starts and he gets burned out, and you go back to Georgiev and he's still not ready to come back? Now what do you do? So that's why you can't do it. At some point it clicked that wait, if we burnt one goalie out, we can't burn the other one.
I think that's got to be the thinking. We don't want to run him into the ground when he's not accustomed to playing every other day yet. For that many games in a row, and obviously after what Georgiev did against your Blackhawks, Alex, the other night. Yeah. If they're going to give Onanen a rest, they're not turning to that guy again tonight. So by default, here comes Kaapo Kähkönen up from the American League. Yep.
And when we talk about, coaches on the hot seat and different factors and parameters, I think this has to be one heavy knock against Bednar. Like, this is Bednar's fault. Like, we can criticize Sakic till we're blue in the face about not going out and getting goalies last year. But okay, but you still didn't have to play Georgiev as much as you did already. And now if this is the case where you're at, where you can't play your best goalie because you're worried about burning him out because you burnt your other goalie out, that's mismanagement. And that, along with this team not being ready, and of course the unfortunate, you can't do anything about the injuries. But I think that makes Bednar's seat a lot hotter than a few other coaches who are on that list right now.
I thought for sure this was the TNT game, but it's not. And I only realized that right before the show. I'm surprised it isn't, actually. I thought for Tampa, Colorado was the final a few years ago, but it's actually LA Vegas, and they only have one game tonight, not a doubleheader. TNT, but the Kings and the Golden Knights is the TNT game.
So I guess they got what movie do they have to show? The Avengers?
Yeah, what did they got to show? They got some Halloween special or something the night before.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, probably it's a Halloween movie. I forgot. Yeah, that's exactly what
that's probably it. So we can only have one NHL game tonight, and it's Vegas and LA. By the way, Rick Bowness is on the TNT panel tonight. He did a great job with Hockey Night in Canada when he was on there for a couple of nights during the playoffs last year. So, yeah, Rick Bowness will do a good job on TNT tonight. I'm sure of it. He'll be a guest analyst in the studio with Liam and the crew with TNT tonight. That'll be interesting to see that as well. All right, next up, we've got Calgary and the Utah Hockey Club. How did the Utah Hockey Club pick themselves up off the mat following that third period and overtime debacle against San Jose the other night? That was such a brutal loss. I mean, they had that game. They're up 4-1, and somehow you end up losing 5-4 in overtime. Right here, we've got Utah minus 120, minus 125 home favorites, 6 being the total here in this game. Now, look, Utah's not going to be thrilled defensively, goaltending-wise, how they pissed away a 4-1 lead and lost 5-4 to San Jose. So part of me worries that maybe they really, really tighten the hatchet tonight early in this game and try to, make things better defensively. But the bottom line remains system play is in effect here with Calgary and Utah. And you know what that is. Team off a shutout loss. Calgary gets blanked by Vegas in their last game. And that angle's in play, and that angle is 13-2 first period over, 11-4 full game over. It has been an absolute money-making machine. We ride it. Simple as that. Even though, like I said, Utah's maybe going to want to tighten up after blowing a 4-1 lead, their 4th loss in a row now. But Calgary off a 5-0 shutout loss to Vegas, and we've got our system play. We just don't even think twice. We're on it. First period over by Fecta here, maybe even over trifecta with both teams to score possibly in the first period, but definitely over by Fecta at the very least. Over 1.5 minus 124 at FanDuel, over 6 minus 118 at Pinnacle for this first period full game over. Again, our system play in effect, team off a shutout loss going into this one. Alex, what do you think here? Calgary, Utah.
Yep, running the system play with you. And I also have the draw. It was plus 390, and then I bet it, and it dropped to plus 380. So sorry about that. That's a FanDuel. I noticed that happened with 2 different things today. I bet the draw, and it moved 10 cents. So, but 380 still a fair price, and I think this could be, like I said, a game that will go up and over total. Maybe look at a 4-4 correct score. To dabble in something small, but I definitely like the total here. I like the light goals, but I like this game to be close enough late to where we see it go past 60. That's been Utah's MO lately. They've been the new draw team.
The Utah Draw Club. I mean, I'm telling you,
right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Utah Draw Club. I agree. I think
I like
the draw I might tack on as well. I mean, they have been in a lot of overtime this year, this Utah team. So, and like I say, I don't want to side. I mean, Calgary's motivated too, absolutely, off of a shutout loss to Vegas. I think they bring it, but I think Utah does as well. Utah's got to feel ashamed, man. They had that game. It was right in the palm of their hands against the worst team, winless Sharks, and somehow they end up losing 5-4. Against them. So Utah, I think, is coming to play here as well. And the one thing I like about Utah is they got their offense going at least a little bit on Monday night, even though they lost to San Jose. Because goal scoring had become an issue, Alex. They scored 1, 2, 3 goals, pretty much every game recently till that game against San Jose, which was good to see their offense get going. But by far my favorite look here is, as you know, the first period and a full game over the bifecta here with the team off a shutout loss. We expect Dustin Wolf, but not confirmed for Calgary. Connor Ingram has been confirmed in net here for the Utah Hockey Club. I agree. Igor Sharangovich is a good bet. He's back. He's on the top line for Calgary. Not a bad price. Igor Sharangovich. Gunther, when Utah gets on the board offensively, we expect Gunther to have a hand in it. Matthias Michelli, he's starting to heat up now for Utah as well. So Matthias Michelli, I think, might have some decent player prop value as well here in this game tonight for the Utah Hockey Club. And as well for Calgary going into this game, Connor Zary. We'll see if Sam Honzik plays. He's been on the IR, but he's been practicing. We'll see if he's good to go. He's missed the last 5 games. There's hints that he might be on the top 6 forward group if he returns tonight for Calgary. So if he is, there's probably value for Sam Honzik as well for props in this game. All right, we move along to Vegas and Los Angeles. As mentioned, this is your TNT national television game on this Wednesday night. We've got Vegas minus 135 road favorites. The total in this game, 6 shaded to the over. I really kind of want to take Vegas because they're playing well, but they're playing well at home. Perfect, undefeated at home. Winless on the road. And until I see them win a road game, I'm a little hesitant to lay minus 135 with the Vegas Golden Knights right now. And this is a problem that's carrying over from last year for Bruce Cassidy and his Golden Knights, where they had this great home record and they just couldn't figure it out on the road. 7-0 at home, 0-3 on the road this season for the Vegas Golden Knights. But I still think they're the better team right now. And LA's in a tough spot. It's back-to-back here for the LA Kings after a 4-2 loss in San Jose last night. So you got the rest advantage here for the Vegas Golden Knights, but off 4 straight home wins and a shutout win that they rolled past Calgary. Are you going to get that same focus here from the Golden Knights is the question. And again, the Golden Knights are 0 on the road this year. So that's what's keeping me off Vegas. Really, the only thing I like in this game is first period over. I do like that. Vegas is right there as one of the top teams in the NHL as far as first period overs are concerned. They've been a machine in that category. I don't love the full game over. This is definitely one where I like the first period over a lot more. I could see it slowing down after the opening 20. Alex, what do you think here? Golden Knights Kings.
Yeah, you already know what it is. First period over with Vegas. It's simple to the point, and laying $1.20. I actually laid 130 overnight last night, and it dropped down to 128, 126. I was seeing that FanDuel. So do shop around to get the best of the number, but anything 135 or better, that's worth playing pregame. Vegas, LA, first period over.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, 19 first period goals. Great stat from Rich in the chat there. Yeah, number 1 in the NHL with most first period goals scored. The Vegas Golden. That's why they've been such a good first period over team. Obviously, when you score 19 goals in the first period in a month of the season, you're going to be a good first period over team. Yeah, and we're definitely seeing that. Yeah, as far as player props in this game, I mean, close shave Barbashev. I mention him every game for good reason. He's just been unbelievable for Vegas. He's finally found his offense. Here's a good one. Dorofeyev is with Hertl, and Brett Howden is up there with Hertl and Dorofeyev. Brett Howden's worth a look. He scored twice against San Jose. He's getting, top 6 minutes now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So Brett Howden's a nice look, I think, as far as goal props as well for Vegas. For LA, Byfield with Kopitar I agree. Kopitar, it's concerning what I'm seeing from Kopitar at times. He's now gone without a point since that hat trick he had against Buffalo. Those were the 3 goals he scored. The hat trick he had against Buffalo in the third period of that game. And he has done not much offensively other than that. They need more from Anže. And maybe if Father Time is knocked on his door and the door is opened, but still, I mean, you want to see a little bit better from him than what we have seen. And I agree with Cuban Wayne Gretzky. He's now moved up to playing with Moore and with Danault, and I think he's capable of taking advantage of it, and that's Akil Thomas. In fact, he's made his debut against San Jose. He missed the first several games due to injury, and now he's back, and he's put out on a line where he's going to get minutes, he's going to get opportunity, playing on a line that, is scoring line, and he gets a goal in his first game of the year against San Jose, so I really like that, Akil Thomas for sure. I think it's a good value tonight for him, for the LA. I think that I keep seeing him and I see something. There's something there for Akil Thomas. There's something there. I think he can be a pretty good NHLer and be a guy that can score. Now, he's not going to score 50, obviously, but he can score 20, 25 goals consistently in this league for you, from what I see out of Akil Thomas.
Yeah, which is great. If you can be a consistent 20-goal, 50-point guy every year, that's fantastic.
Yeah. No doubt. And like I said, it doesn't waste time either. His first game last night against San Jose in that game against the Sharks, he gets on the board with a goal in that game, plus 550. And by the way, I mentioned this on Twitter, X watching the game, and obviously San Jose won that game. It's so nice because we're obviously inundated with women on television, especially in sports these days. It's happening a lot more in every sport. But a lot of them have these shrill, annoying, shrieking type voices when they talk. It's so nice to hear Cassie's voice. Cassie's just got this nice tone of voice. It's gentle on the ears. It's not, irritating or annoying. I love it. It's great. She's got a great voice. She does a great job.
And it stood out in the last game because you had Leah Hextall between the benches, so you had the contrast.
Polar opposite type of vocal tone. Yeah. There you go. That's when it rings even more true, the difference, no doubt. All right, final game of this Wednesday slate. We've got New Jersey and Vancouver. As we talked about earlier with Larry Fisher, this is the Hughes Bowl here tonight, as it always is when these two teams hook up. We've got Vancouver minus 125 home favorites. The total in this one sitting at 6.5, shaded to the over. In this game, obviously, the focus is going to be the great storyline, and it's always going to be this way. I don't think it'll ever not get talked about a ton when it's Devils versus Canucks, that it'll be the 3 Hughes brothers all playing in the same game here going into this one tonight. But, like I said, we talked about this a little bit in the Betting Man Advantage segment. I think the point parlay with all 3 Hughes brothers is worth a look. They're plus 400 tonight for that, and shop around. Maybe at other books you'll get better prices, but I definitely think that's worth a look. Remember the last time we saw Devils versus Canucks, all 3 Hughes brothers got on the score sheet with at least a point in that game. So keep that in mind with what we saw last year, because you look at it, we saw Quinn Hughes get 3 assists in that game for the Canucks. We saw Luke Hughes get an assist, and we saw Jack Hughes as well get on the Jack Hughes didn't play the one game, actually, believe it or not, the game in New Jersey. I think the game in Vancouver.
Yeah, the later meeting he didn't play. He was hurt.
He didn't play, but still the other brothers got on the score sheet. Yeah.
Right.
Bottom line in both, and Jack Hughes had a goal and 2 assists in the first meeting. Quinn Hughes had 2 assists. Luke Hughes had a goal. The bottom line is, in the Vancouver versus New Jersey game, anyone with a last name Hughes has not failed to get at least a point. So there you go. In any Devils Canucks game, every Hughes brother has at least gotten 1 point. That's why I think that's actually a really good bet tonight. That Hughes point parlay, plus 400 at Bet365. Again, maybe see what FanDuel, other books are offering, and maybe they offer better, but that's a pretty good look there with 3 of them maybe to get on the score sheet here tonight. Jacob Markstrom against his old team. The Vancouver, one of his old teams, of course, Calgary he played with as well, but he will be back in Vancouver and making the start. Not the best start, 3.01 goals against, .895 save percentage for Jacob Markstrom, but he was a lot better in his last start, probably one of his better starts in recent games for him, giving up just 2 goals, 6-2 win for the Devils over the Anaheim Ducks in that one. Meanwhile, Arturs Shilov's going to be the netminder here tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. He has actually, again, not played in quite some time. They've been leaning on Lankinen lately because Lankinen's actually been pretty solid, but they're going to turn back to Arturs Shilov's. Now, we have not seen the Latvian in net since October 15th when they lost 4-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, of course, they lost 6-5 to Calgary, first night of the year in the other start that Shilov's made this year for the Canucks. So right now he is 0-2 on the season, 4.5 goals against average, .827 save percentage. Not great numbers. So, is it a question of, well, he's trying to get accustomed to now being someone that they're going to have to start more? Is it that the other team has more of a book, and more of a scouting report on Arturs Shilov's now and maybe know his weaknesses a little bit better than they did? But either way, it's been a tough couple of starts for Shilov's, and he hasn't started in a game in 2 weeks now, since October 15th. So, like I said, we're going to have to see if he's able to pick it up here and play better, but obviously didn't have a great first 2 starts going into this game. You look at the 2 meetings last year with the Devils and the Canucks, 6-4, 6-5. I mean, they were high-scoring affairs. The over is cashed in 6 straight between these 2 teams, the Devils and the Canucks. Yet, oddly enough, one of those games last year, the first period, it was scoreless, believe it or not. There were no goals in the first period, and yet the game still ended up being, 6-4. The game in New Jersey, it was scoreless after the first. It ended up 6-4 Canucks. It still flew over the full game total. So this is one where I might just go full game with the over instead of first period or bifecta. I think the full game just might be the better look because, look, Vancouver's not been a big first period over team. New Jersey's been okay in the first period with the over, but nothing as strong as some of the other teams so far this season. So I think I might just stick with over 6.5 first period here in this game with the Devils and the Canucks. Nothing for me on the side, really. I think both teams and the spirited environment that the 3 Hughes brothers playing will bring from both teams. I think New Jersey's starting a road trip here. They are. So, usually teams are in a good spot, bet on spot there. But Vancouver's off a tough loss to Carolina. I don't think they're going to want to drop 2 in a row at home. So it's a clear pass for me from a side perspective. I like a lot of props in this game, including that Hughes point parlay. But for me, just over 6.5 pregame side or total. Alex, Hughes Bowl. What do you think here, New Jersey, Vancouver?
Well, yeah, I definitely would be parlaying those point props. I'm seeing even at Bet Online, you getting a plus 329 with parlaying all 3 Hughes brothers to earn a point. So that's something that we'll have in pocket. But I agree with Nick said totals. If I were to look at anything totals wise, first period or full game, I would go and look in game. So that's probably this being a later contest. I'll have some live looks with this, but the only thing I have in pocket now is the Hughes point parlay. Plus 329 at Bet Online is what I got, but definitely shop around. There should be better prices all over the
place. By the way, into the chat, Drewski, Devils money line. And the only reason I flashed that up is because I know last year, New Jersey was a better road team than they were at home. I remember that last year. I mean, New Jersey laying the bigger prices at home, I rarely wanted to do that. And you would see them not struggle at times at home. Yet on the road last year, they were a little bit better. And this year, they're 3-4 at home. They're 3-2 on the road. So keep an eye on that. I think if you're going to make money with New Jersey in spots this year, you might be more profitable doing so on the road with this team this season. So I lean Devils, I do. But like I said, and Markstrom going back to Vancouver, he's going to want to play well. I do lean. If I had to pick a side, I would take the Devils here, plus 105. But I don't think I'm going to get involved with it. Just a lean there with that. Great stuff. By the way, for Vancouver, I should mention, we're talking all about the Hughes and Quinn, obviously, for Vancouver. And by the way, Larry likes Quinn Hughes bargain bin special, Larry Fisher, to score a goal tonight. Good price on that. But for Vancouver, there are other players in this game besides the Hughes brothers. Did you know that? Just making sure you're aware of that. There are a few players in this game other than the Hughes brothers tonight here in this one. And one of them is Arshdeep Bains, who is up on the top line right now for Vancouver. There's great value. He scored a couple games ago. What an opportunity to play with Pettersson and Garland. Garland's probably got great value, too, on that line. Besser, Miller, and DeBrusk. But definitely the one that stands out to me. And here's someone that's a bit of a streaky scorer. He's a fourth liner, but when he scores in bunches, usually a few games in a row. He's now scored in 2 of the last 3 games for Vancouver. Pius Suter. who is on the fourth line, but he scored in 2 of the last 3 games for the Vancouver Canucks. So maybe he can keep it going. And obviously, you're going to get a great price there with him to score a goal tonight. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Great stuff. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Those of you on YouTube and, of course, watching on all platforms, Facebook and Twitter X as well. We appreciate it very much, just like we appreciate our Patreon members. We sure do. $10 per month. Again, goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content posted there, including, of course, the daily betting card, sides, totals, player props from Alex and I and guests posted each and every day on the Patreon page. And again, we haven't changed the price ever. It's been $10 per month. Make it affordable for all of our great viewers and listeners of the show. And again, your Patreon subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going long term. So we thank you for it. Again, just $10 per month. Sign up now. Patreon.com/IceGuys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. For the next 5 days, we got free standard shipping on all orders. So go to the website, click on the redeem button at the top of the page, add everything in your cart, and check everything out, and then you'll get free standard shipping when you make that selection at checkout. So check that on out. 5 days left. Free standard shipping at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, awesome. All right, we got best bets and bargain bin special of the night coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs, thunder and lightning, Mario and Luigi, a hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, shout out to all our great sponsors, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the site using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, we got our bargain bin special of the night. It has been more of a grind for me personally with the bargain bin special of the night to start the season, but great to hit one last night. Connor McMichael, Washington Capitals, plus 420. See if we can deliver another one for you here for this Wednesday night. Alex, what do you like here for your bargain bin special tonight?
Yeah, heading out to the Motor City tonight. Got Winnipeg taking on Detroit, and one guy that you mentioned amongst the breakdown, the guy who's been heating up and scoring goals, and he's at a decent price, looking at plus 460 anytime goal scorer at FanDuel. That's JT Comfort. Give me him anytime goal scorer for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. I think that's going to be a good spot for them. Like I said, bubble burst theory going up against Winnipeg, and that's a very solid price. So plus 460 for JT Comfort, City of Comfort, as you say. Anytime goal scorer for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. That's my bargain bin special.
There we go. City of Comfort, JT Comfort, Detroit Red Wings, plus 460 for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, look, I'm going to roll the dice here. Vegas, LA. Let's go back to the well with, well, not back to the well, but he scored against San Jose, first game of the year last night. Akil Thomas, Los Angeles Kings, up on the second line, plus 550 at Bet Rivers to find the back of the net here tonight. Love that price. Think he can give this Kings team an offensive thrust and jolt, especially now playing on the second line as he is currently with this team with Deneau and Trevor Moore. And I think that's certainly going to help this LA team if he can find. And like I say, I think his skill set allows him, I think, to be maybe a 20 to 25 goal scorer consistently here in the NHL. Let's go to the well with Akil Thomas, Los Angeles Kings, plus 550 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Of course, we were both on the same best bet last night. Rangers Capitals over in the first period. Couldn't have been any easier. Alex, what do you like for best bet tonight?
I don't know if we'll be on the same best bet again tonight. It's possible. I like Vegas, LA, first period over. You can now get minus $1.20 at FanDuel for that over 1.5. I think it's a great spot when we're riding this Vegas first period over trend. And I think LA are coming off the second night of back-to-backs, could definitely be susceptible. So Golden Knights, Kings, first period over 1.5, minus 120. My best bet tonight.
All right, there you go. Vegas, LA, first period over. For Alex B. Smith with his best bet here for this Thursday NHL card. My best bet for this one, I'm debating on this one because it's definitely going to be one of the over bifecta legs from the Calgary-Utah game, obviously with the angle in effect, team off a shutout loss. I feel I'm going to go full game this time. You know, we know the first period over has been slightly more profitable, 13-2 with this angle, team off a shutout loss. 13-2 to the first period over, 11-4 to the full game over. But I think the full game might be the better look tonight in this particular game, just because maybe Utah does try to slow things down early after blowing the lead the other night. But I do think we'll eventually get the 7 goals needed in that game. So we'll go with Calgary, Utah, over 6. Minus 120 for my best bet here for this Wednesday NHL card. That is a wrap. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out. And a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. Some guest notes for this week, just before we wrap it up. Tomorrow, Matt's going to be with us, Matt Robinson, barring any work emergencies, which he had on that Tuesday. And we will also talk Florida-Dallas, the game on Friday afternoon in Finland. We will talk about that tomorrow on the Thursday show at the end, because we'll be coming on the air Friday just as that game starts. So we'll do Florida-Dallas in Finland tomorrow on the Thursday show. And then, of course, the rest of the Friday card on Friday. But we got Matt Robinson. Jimmy Murphy says he's not available Friday. He's going to try to hop on during the show tomorrow instead. So, and we haven't seen Jimmy in a while, so that'll be nice.
Right, yeah.
We were supposed to have Danny DeKeyser yesterday. He had to reschedule. He's going to be on Friday this week. Danny DeKeyser. So Danny DeKeyser back with us, former defenseman, of course. He'll be on with us on Friday. And then Saturday, Calder Brooks is not available this week. So I reached out to our old friend, Andrew McGinnis. He might be able to join us Saturday at noon Eastern. So temporary, not for sure yet, but he said if he's around, he'll join us on Saturday for the big show at noon Eastern. So there you go. A few programming notes for the next few days here with the Ice Guys show. But shout out again to everyone in the chat. And again, Larry, who's been in the chat. We've enjoyed working with you this past month on the Betting Man Advantage segment. And again, even though your affiliation with Power Play is ending, you're still an Ice Guys family member now. Appreciate seeing you in the chat. We'll reach out to you throughout the course of the season. And again, most importantly, all the best moving forward.
Yeah,
all the
definitely.
best to you in your new endeavors. And we hope always you stay on your feet and good things happen for you in the future, no doubt. Just like we hope good things happen tonight with our bets in NHL action. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back with you tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys.